Hello everyone. In this session, we will understand something called as attributes in C Sharp. Well, what do you mean by attributes? It's something like it allows, what it allows you to add some declarative information to your program. Okay. So what do you mean by declarative information? It's something like, let me say, what do you mean by comments? You use comments like in this manner. This is a single line comment and this is a multi-line comment, right? So why exactly we use comments in programming or in any programming language or in our code? Why do we do that? Well, the answer is because to give some information to our code so that we can understand our code, or some other person whom we are giving our code, they can understand our program or the logic that we are doing this or what we are doing this, something like that. We do in comments, right? So in a very similar way, attributes works. The style and the syntax are completely different than this comment, but however the purpose are completely similar. So what do you mean by this declarative information here? It is something like, so if I write here this declarative information, if I write that, it can be a compiler instruction. Compiler instruction means if I want to give some error, explicit error, if I want to give some explicit warning in my code, I can give with the help of attributes in compiler, or you can say with the help of compiler. Okay. Also compiler instructions, and I can have this declarative information as a description. Description of what? Description of my program. So you can do such thing with the help of attributes. Okay, I hope you understand what do you mean by this declarative informations and what exactly we're gonna do with attributes. We give some a kind of information by which a programmer or a user can understand that this is, I mean, he can get enough information from the code. Okay, that's the intention of attributes. So there are some predefined attributes in Visual Studio, and these are, if I list it down here, first one is obsolete, second one is serializable, third one is non-serializable, fourth one is web method, fifth one is something called as DLL import. These are the 5 predefined attributes which exist in Visual Studio. You can add your custom attributes too with the help of this attribute features in C Sharp. So now what are we gonna do? Let's understand first of all this obsolete attribute in our code. So I have my Visual Studio ready. So I will add here, let me add one class first of all. So if I add class sample, and inside this class sample I have two methods, public, let me say public void, let me say it is a method called as display, and I have another method that is public void, let me say test. I have two methods. Okay, now the thing is, this display method, if I write something like this is my old method, right? This is my old method. Let's say this display method is old, okay, but still it is running because we cannot make backward compatibility. We cannot remove this, we cannot delete this. We still need this display method. That's why it is here in the code. Okay, and we have here updated method. So this is another version of the method which is updated display method. Let me write this updated display method, right? So this is the same method, just the name is different, just the name is different, but otherwise this is the same method. or let me say it is a display method itself. Let me take it as the same name, but I just change the parameter. So let me try to give a parameter string, and let me take it as name. Okay, and I will write updated display method, and I will say it as I'm passing the name here. Okay, so this is my updated display method, the same method, but just the the feature or the implementation is changed. Okay, so now I want that user don't use this method, this display method. I want to make an explicit warning here so that user can understand that this method is deprecated, or it's an old method, not the updated one. And I want explicitly that user understood it and user use this new updated method. I want to make this an explicit thing, right? So how can I do that? How can I explicitly generate this warning? How can I explicitly generate an error? How can I do that? Is with the help of attributes, and we are using obsolete attribute here. Okay, so as I told you that this display method, this is old method, right? So I can use the obsolete feature here, okay, or obsolete attribute I can use. Okay, how can I use the obsolete attribute? The syntax of putting the attribute is in the form of, you take square bracket and write obsolete. All these attributes can be written in this manner. So these are something like this. Okay, all these. So if I put all these in the square brackets, you can then directly run in this manner. So if you want to use obsolete, then what are you gonna do? Whatever the method that is deprecated, or the method is old, just keep that this method, and at the above of this method you take that obsolete, or you take that square bracket and try to write obsolete. You will get that feature here. You can get the keyword from the IntelliSense, and you will put that obsolete and close the bracket. Okay, now this method is displayed. Okay, this display is an old method. This is if you call this display method in your main method, it will going to give you a simple warning. Let me call this method display method, and I will call both this method. Let me try to do that. So I'll call the instance sample s equals to new sample. Once you create the instance, you will call those method, right? So I'll say s dot, you can see I can call display, and you can see there are two overload method. Can you see that there are two overload method? One is by default there is no parameters, and another one is one parameter. So first of all, there are no parameters, so this will called as old method, right? So this is my old method. Now as you can see, when I write this s dot display, you can see this is my deprecated method. It is easily shown over here. This is obsolete. That's why the green squiggly line here shows that it is giving you a warning that this method, this display method, is obsolete. Why it is obsolete? Because you had put that attribute, that keyword here just above that display method. That's why the method is obsolete. Now let me call the another display method with parameters. So I'll say display, and let me take the name as let me take it as new test. Let me just say that. Okay, you can see there are no squiggly lines because it is not obsolete. It's completely fresh, it's completely updated, right? So that's why we had written updated display method. Okay, and this is my obsolete method. Okay, now you understood it very well. That is, this display method is my obsolete, and this display method is my updated. So if I run this program, it will run. Both method will run, no problem. Okay, both method will run, no problem. But just in the output, it will give you a warning. What warning it will give? That this display method is an obsolete. So if I make Control Shift B, that is my build, you will see once let me show you the difference. If I remove obsolete from here, and let me just remove this obsolete, Control save, and now if I build my program here, Let me magnify it. So you can see build success. There are no warnings. They're nothing. Build successfully, completely successful. There are no errors, no warnings. But now if I make my display method obsolete, it'll give you the what do you call that, warning, right? So now you will see if I again build my solution, you will see now zero errors, there are no errors, but one warning. What is the warning? It says that attribute demo sample display is obsolete. Which method is obsolete? Display method is obsolete. Why it is obsolete is because you had put that keyword, put that attribute, predefined attribute just above that method display. Now you will say, now you will ask me a question, what if I make this keyword here in this new display method? If I put that, then both method, this display and display display with argument, will give you that both method are obsolete. Let me write that, obsolete. Okay, once I do that, if I again control shift B, you will see there are two warnings. What are two warnings? It says display and display string, that's the second method, is obsolete. It's obsolete, right? That's the thing. Okay, so yeah, I hope you understand the difference. Let me do one more thing here. If I remove this now if I want to pass some message so that user can understand, how a user can understand with just one keyword, user cannot understand, right? So I want to pass a message with this predefined attribute. I can pass it with the help of, there are three overload method with obsolete. You can see if I make a bracket over here, you will see one of three. One is default, second one is you can pass a message, string message. So I'm passing a message here. Use second method instead this. I'm just making this a kind of message. So now you'll see if I build this, it will show me this message also, and it will also show that display is an obsolete method. Let me magnify it, and you will see control shift B, and you will see that the display method is obsolete, and it will pass the message to, see, use second method instead this, right? So that's the same thing here. That's the same message that I passed here in my obsolete attribute. Okay, so this is all about warning. You can see there are zero errors and one warning. Now let me make this situation that I explicitly want to use this method only, display string name. I want to make this a kind of mandatory, that user will run this method only, string name, not this one. How can I make this one of three, the overload method of obsolete? So as you had seen, so let me show you. So you see one of three, the second thing we had seen. Now we go for the third one. What is the third one? String message and Boolean error. Now let me type some message here. What is the message? That use second method instead this, right? That's the thing. Now if I make a comma, and you will see it needs a Boolean error. What is Boolean error? If I give you true, then this method, this display method, is going to be, this will give you an error. So let me write true here. Okay, now once I do that, this method, this display method, is going to be error. See in the main method, see it already showing you red squiggly line here, that this method is obsolete, and it is giving you an error. So you cannot run your program. See, if you try to run that, it'll give you one error and zero warning. What it says, it's obsolete, use second method instead. So you can explicitly make give a choice to the user that you should use the second method instead of first one. You cannot run your program without running this one. Okay, so that's the obsolete keyword of predefined attribute. We understood it. Okay, you can also make a false here, so that error will not come. You can make a false here, just like that. Control shift B. Project will run zero errors but one warning. What is the warning?